For decades, she kept it quiet. Not a word to the press, not a whisper in interviews. But now, at 84 years old, Ann-Margret has finally broken her silence. And what she reveals about Elvis Presley isn't just shocking, it's heartbreakingly human. Before the fame, before the flashing lights and Las Vegas stages, Ann-Margret was just a little girl, growing up in a snowy Swedish village. Born Ann-Margret Olsen in 1941, she spent her early years surrounded by pine forests and icy winds, a world away from Hollywood. At just 5 years old, she and her mother left Sweden to reunite with her father in Chicago, a move that would quietly set the stage for one of the most iconic careers in entertainment history. In this strange new country, Ann-Margret adapted fast. By the time she reached Northwestern University, her talent for singing and dancing was impossible to ignore. She didn't just light up a stage, she owned it. Her big break came in the early 1960s when none other than George Burns spotted her. With his help, she landed a performance slot in Las Vegas, and from there, Hollywood came knocking. Her rise was rapid. By 1963, she was a star thanks to Bye Bye Birdie, where her sultry voice and vibrant presence turned heads and stole scenes. But it wasn't just audiences who were captivated by her. Someone else was watching, someone already beloved by millions around the world. That man was Elvis Presley. In 1964, they were cast together in Viva Las Vegas, and from the very first day on set, something changed. The chemistry between them wasn't acting. It was real. Sparks flew on screen and off. While the cameras rolled, America saw a fiery, flirty pairing. What they didn't see was what happened when the lights went out. Their romance unfolded quietly, almost secretly. Elvis was already tethered to Priscilla Beaulieu, the woman he'd eventually marry. But that didn't stop the connection between him and Ann-Margret from growing into something deeper. They shared a rare understanding, both young stars navigating fame, both under intense pressure, both aching for something real. Ann-Margret later admitted that Elvis made her laugh like no one else, that they danced together in private with the same electric energy they had on screen, that their relationship was more than just a fling, it was a meeting of kindred spirits. But even then, she knew it couldn't last. Elvis's world was tightly controlled, his image carefully protected, and despite their bond, the reality of his commitment to Priscilla loomed large. Ann-Margret chose to walk away, not because she didn't love him, but because she understood the cost of staying. And yet, he never really left her life. Every time Ann-Margret opened a show in Las Vegas, long after their relationship had ended, she would receive a bouquet of flowers, always in the shape of a guitar. No name attached, no message, but she knew. Everyone close to her knew. It was Elvis. A silent nod from one star to another, a reminder that some connections don't fade with time. While the world gossiped about her love life, Ann-Margret was busy building a career that defied every stereotype. Cast early on as the vivacious bombshell, she fought to be taken seriously as an actress. And she won. Her role in Carnal Knowledge earned her an Academy Award nomination, and another followed for her wild, emotionally raw performance in Tommy. She didn't stop there. Through the 80s and 90s, she continued to surprise audiences, from comedies like Grumpy Old Men to powerful TV dramas. She became one of the few stars who could command attention, whether she was on stage, on screen, or behind a microphone. With her husky voice and high-octane energy, she tore through concerts in Vegas, rode motorcycles across stages, and kept breaking boundaries for women in showbiz. But offstage, her life was just as compelling. In 1967, she married actor Roger Smith. And while many Hollywood marriages collapse under the spotlight, theirs lasted an astonishing 50 years. Roger gave up his own acting career to become her manager, her protector, and her partner in every sense of the word. Even as he battled a neuromuscular disease, Ann-Margret stayed by his side, loyal, loving, and fiercely private. Still, one chapter of her life remained off-limits to the public, her relationship with Elvis. Until now. With age comes perspective, and at 84, Ann-Margret finally opened up. Not to stir scandal, not to cash in on controversy, but to honor the man she once loved. She describes Elvis not as the glittering icon, but as someone vulnerable, someone lonely, someone filled with both music and sadness. He was kind, she says softly. He was funny. He had a soul full of music and pain. She remembers how he lit up a room, and how he would disappear into himself when the crowds were gone. How they shared quiet moments that felt more real than anything in the spotlight. and how, even decades later, she still holds on to the memories like faded Polaroids of a life that could have been. The truth, as she tells it, isn't scandalous, it's bittersweet. She never tried to rewrite history. She never once spoke poorly of Priscilla. Instead, she simply chose to carry those memories privately, a decision rooted in respect, not secrecy. And maybe that's why this story matters, because in a world where so much is exploited for attention, Ann-Margret chose silence, until now. She chose to wait until her voice could add something meaningful, something true. She reveals that even in the final years of Elvis's life, he stayed in touch, that the flowers kept coming, that the connection, though no longer romantic, never truly died. It transformed, from passion to memory, from heartbreak to homage. Today, she doesn't speak of regrets. She speaks of gratitude, of a love that was real, if not meant to last, of a man who, despite everything, made a lasting mark on her life. And so, as Ann-Margret tells her story, it feels less like a revelation, and more like a love letter, one written with grace, with honesty, and with the kind of dignity rarely seen in Hollywood. At 84, she finally lets us in, not for the headlines, but for the heart of it. Because sometimes, the most powerful stories are the ones we wait a lifetime to tell.